So great. Welcome. Those of you who are watching live, karibu sana. I know some of you are still at work. Some of you are about to leave for work for lunch. So welcome to this live webinar. And our masterclass today is simply looking at, real estate financial wellness and 5 kingdom principles that are going to help you to multiply your money. Okay, so remember we have been talking about the 3 M's of money. That is, money revolves around 3 M's. Number 1, we talked about making money. Everybody is making money in the world. Yeah. Then number 2, we looked at the second M, which is managing your money. And then the third M is multiplying your money. Okay. Yeah. So today we are looking at what are some of the 5 kingdom principles that can help you to multiply your money. And I am Bob Ondicho, the founder of Estbo Properties Realty Limited, and I'm passionate about kingdom wealth creation, financial wellness, financial management, as well as entrepreneurship and real estate. And I believe that I'm called to be a builder, and I invest most of my time in building the capacity of so many people to make informed, life-transforming, personal, financial decisions. Okay, and I'm also an author. Part of the books that I've written just here. If you look at the books here, these are among the books that I've authored. Have authored more than 7 books. 3 among them are showing on the screen. How to multiply your money through land investments, strategic land investments, then step-by-step guide to safe land investment, and how you can be a millionaire sales realtor. All of these books, you can find them in Amazon. If you go to Amazon right now, you are going to get these books, and you can get a copy for yourself. Okay, now let's move on to our discussion today, and we are looking at financial wellness. Financial wellness. We're looking at financial wellness, and I want us to move to our discussion today, a kingdom approach to generational wealth, financial wellness. And what do we mean when we talk about financial wellness? What do you mean when we talk about financial wellness? So when we talk about financial wellness, we want to look at some things that can help you, 5 kingdom principles that can help you to, multiply your money. Okay. And I know that most of us, we were never taught how money really works. And actually, most schools don't teach about money. They teach about the skills. They don't teach you how money works. And even in our families, we have never been taught about money. Your parents didn't teach you about money, and most probably even you're not going to teach your kids about money, because you cannot pass information that you don't have. You cannot pass information that you don't know. Most of the time we find ourselves passing on information that you know. So the thing that you don't know, it becomes hard to pass it to your children or to your children's children. And that has really costed you, that has really costed us and our children dearly. So let that land to you. So that is a problem that we are addressing. There are things that we have not been taught, and it has costed us and our children dearly when it comes to wealth creation, when it comes to financial wellness, financial management. And there are 5 kingdom principles that you're going to get here, and they're going to give you the confidence to start today, regardless of your income. There are 5 kingdom principles that is going to jumpstart you, that's going to trigger you. Okay? Yeah, so these are conversation, and I want us to get in the comment section and let me know if you can hear me well. Give me a 1 in the comment section. If you can hear me well, give me a 1 in the comment section. Okay? If you can hear me well, give me a 1 in the comment section. Yeah. If you can hear me, give me a 1 in the comment section below. Yeah. So we are talking about real estate financial wellness, and we're going to look at 5 kingdom principles that you can begin to apply today to multiply your money. Okay? Yeah. So let's move on. So this is a circle. So this is a circle that is going round and round and round. Yeah. And what has happened is that wealth knowledge has died, and it has died with generation. Maybe it died with your great grandparents, and again it died with your parents. And if you're not careful, it's also still going to die with you. There's some kind of darkness, when it comes to particular information. Yeah. And if you don't switch on the light when it comes to financial wellness, then most probably this is going to be a circle. So that's what is on the screen there. Yeah. It's going to be a circle. It's going to pass from you to your children, to your grandchildren. And that is a problem. We have been passing on, some gap when it comes to financial wellness from our great grandparents to our parents to you. And probably if you don't also take care of it, then most probably you're going to pass it to your children, and your children to your grandchildren, and from your grandchildren to your great grandchildren. So it becomes a circle. But good news is that you can get the information today. Yeah. Good. So every generation loses what the last generation built. If you have noticed, there's something that normally happens with every generation. Realize that every generation there is something that normally gets lost. Maybe it's something that the previous generation had built, yeah, and it normally get lost with the incoming generation. Yeah. So normally there is something that gets lost. There's something that a generation built. Like right now, maybe there is something that you are building, but a generation might come after you. Maybe it's your children or your grandchildren. If they have not been trained properly, and they will disappear, they will take what you have built over time and make it disappear within seconds. Yeah. And that's why we are saying that every generation loses what the last one built. So even you yourself, maybe there is something that you have lost that the generation of your parents or your grandparents built or didn't build. And what we are saying is that this has to end with you, because now you're tuned in and watching and listening live. Yeah. So there's a generational circle. And what you are saying is that the wealth knowledge or the financial wellness normally disappear with every generation, becomes a circle. And why is this important? Because you realize that maybe there was a generation that worked hard, to eradicate poverty. But then now there's a generation 2, maybe they came, they worked on their education, yeah, they got educated. Then there's a generation 3 that came, they're earning well, but they end up spending everything. Yeah, generation 3 now earns well but spends everything. They're earning from what the generation 1 and 2 built. Then generation 5 comes, and now because generation 4 comes, and now because generation 3 was earning and spending, and that is what now generation 4 saw, then they begin to extend that circle, that same pattern. You know, they begin to again repeat that pattern because that is the pattern they saw from generation 3. So generation 5 probably will also repeat the same thing. Yeah. So what is actually being lost? You know, it is not only money that is disappearing, it is the knowledge of how to earn that money that is also disappearing. You know, the knowledge of how to make that money, the knowledge of how to keep that money, the knowledge of how to grow that money, you know. Now, that is the knowledge that is disappearing. Yeah. Why? Because generation 3 was not serious when it comes to, you know, the knowledge, financial knowledge that they received from generation 1 and 2. Yeah. So I want you to realize that you can be that generation that is actually, you know, spending everything that you are earning. You can be that generation that is, you know, making dim the financial knowledge that you received from, you know, the previous generation in terms of how to earn the money, how to keep the money, how to grow the money. Yeah. So knowledge is very valuable. Knowledge is more valuable than the wealth itself, because the wealth begins from an idea. Wealth begins from knowledge. So what is more important? Because you can lose everything, yeah, but if you have knowledge, you can again regain it. So what we are saying is that the knowledge is more valuable than the wealth itself. Yeah. And if you read Judges 2:10, it describes exactly what I am explaining right now. You know, this was a generation that forgot God, and they forgot the principles that had prospered them. And the result was 400 years of a circle of bondage and deliverance. Yeah. But the good news is that this circle is not inevitable. It is not inevitable. You know, it only continues when knowledge is not passed down intentionally. So what are we saying? We are saying that we need to pass down knowledge intentionally, and not just any other knowledge. We need to pass down our financial wellness knowledge based on kingdom principles. So when you learn today and teach tomorrow, you can break this circle permanently. Yeah, you can break this circle permanently. Okay. So what are we saying? We are saying that you need to be aware of passing down financial wellness knowledge from one generation. Actually, you're supposed to take care of your great grandchildren up to the second generation. Okay. Yeah. So who those of you who are watching live, is there some information that you need to pass down to your children, to your great grandchildren? Do you already have financial information that you can pass down to your children or your great grandchildren? You know, can you let me know in the comment section if you don't have you feel like you don't have enough financial information to pass to your children or your great-grandchildren, give me a 2. If you feel you have enough financial information to pass to your great-grandchildren, give me a 3. Yeah, in the comment section. Do you have enough financial information to pass to your great-grandchildren or your children right now? Give me a 3. If you don't have, give me a 2. Yeah. So Judges 2:10, after that generation died, another grew up who did not know the Lord or remember what he had done. Okay? So what are we saying, guys? That we need to be intentional. We need to be intentional. Yeah? We need to be intentional in passing down financial wellness knowledge. And because the previous generations that brought us up were not intentional in passing this financial wellness knowledge, that has resulted to the financial gap that you have in your family. Yeah? So how are you becoming intentional, you yourself, now that you found yourself in that gap? What are you doing not to pass down darkness, financial darkness, to your generation, to your children, or to your grandchildren? Yeah? What are you doing? How intentional are you becoming? Okay? How intentional are you becoming? Yeah? So 3 things that were lost. Number 1 was knowledge. Number 2 was identity. And number 3 was continuity. Yeah. So, number 1, there was loss of knowledge. The next generation had no idea what God had done. You know, how they had crossed the Red Sea, the manna that was they were given in the desert, the battles that they won, the battles that they lost. They had no idea about all these things. Yeah. So what are we saying? We are saying that without knowledge of the past, you know, it's very hard to fight battles, it's very hard to win. You know, they had no reference. They had no faith for the future ones. They had no stories to tell. You know, the world is ruled by stories. The world is ruled by history. You know, we use history to run the present and to predict the future. So the same also applies with money. The same applies with wealth creation. The same applies with investment. If your children never see you manage your finances wisely, they won't know how to manage their finances. If your children don't see you multiply, then they won't have the information to multiply. Okay? They won't have the information to multiply. Yeah? Number 2 was loss of identity. They stopped knowing who they were as a people. You know, that they were chosen, they were set apart, they were called to a purpose. So you need to realize that identity determines behavior. Identity determines behavior. Those of you who are watching live, you are joining live, karibu sana, welcome. We are talking about real estate financial wellness, narrowing down on 5 key principles, 5 kingdom principles that can help you to multiply your money. Yeah. So, and what we are saying is, we are saying that knowledge, you know, we are talking about knowledge. We are talking about knowledge. And we are saying that identity determines behavior. Yeah. There are things that were lost in Judges 2:10. Yeah. There are things that generation lose. And when you read Judges 2:10, one of the things that this generation lost was identity. So we are saying that identity determines your behavior. If your children don't know they are built to prosper, they won't pursue prosperity rightly. Yeah. So we are saying that knowledge will determine your identity. The person you are today will be determined by your level of knowledge, your level of information. You know, And it is the knowledge that builds you to be who you are. Okay? It is knowledge that builds you to be who you are. So you need to be careful not to lose your identity. You need to be careful not to lose your identity. Something else which was lost was also loss of continuity. Yeah, there was a loss of continuity. Yeah, there's a loss of continuity. The legacy of Joshua's generation simply stopped. Yeah, there was no succession. There was no handover. There was no plan. So all the wealth of knowledge and spiritual capital vanished in a single generation. So if you're not careful, then you realize that all the wealth of knowledge, all the spiritual capital that you have, can vanish with the next generation that will fall after you. Maybe your children, maybe your grandchildren, if you're not intentional, So why is this important? We've just seen that in the book of Judges, yeah? Okay? Judges 2:10. We've just seen this in the book of Judges 2:10, yeah? The foundation, as you can see, So today, we want to write a different story. And that story has to begin with you. Yeah, you are the one who needs to change the story. By learning, by getting information about financial wellness. So what are we saying? We are saying that you need to be careful to pass down financial wellness, because your children will pass what you have passed to them. Yeah. So there are 5 anchors that you need to learn, on your journey to financial wellness. Anchor number 1, you need to understand that it is God who owns everything. God owns it all. Psalm 24 verse 1. The earth is the Lord and everything in it. Psalms 24 verse 1. The earth is the Lord and everything in it. Okay? Yeah. So you need to understand that you are a manager. You are not an owner. Most of us have been brought up to understand that we are owners. You own. Yeah. We have a lot of ownership, and some will go to an extent of even shedding blood so that they get the properties of others, so that they acquire some other people's property, so that they amass a lot of properties. There's nothing with that, but the way it's being acquired shows that this person does not understand that we are managers, So you need to understand that you are a manager, you are not an owner. And therefore, because you are a manager, you're managing somebody else's property, you're managing God's property, you need to be diligent, you need to be accountable, and you need to trust God for more. Yeah? So what do we mean by ownership? Number 1, what we mean is that everything belongs to God, including your salary, including your money, including your wealth. Yeah, Psalms 24 verse 1. The earth and everything in it belongs to God. So that includes your job, includes your business, your house, your investment portfolio, your bank balance. Everything that we are using on earth comes from the ground, and everything has been created by God. What do we do as human beings? We add value to, we are like co-creators. We are just adding value to what God had already created and serving it to solve problems that people have. Yeah, we don't create these things. They've already been created by God. What we are doing is adding value to them so that they become useful, they become beneficial. Yeah, like a tree, you cannot use a tree the way it is. You have to add value. So from the tree, you get a bed, you get a chair, you get a table. What are we doing? We are adding value to. So we are like managers. We are managing God's, assets. So you need to understand that you are not an owner. You are just a steward, you know. So when you know that you are a steward, you are a manager, you are not an owner, then you'll understand that the money is not yours. And some of us who are Christians will get to begin to come to reality that we are just stewards. And when you understand that you're a steward, then tithing, even tithing as a Christian principle, becomes very easy. You know, giving becomes a joy. And you will not hoard money. You will not get so much attachment with the money, you know. And losing that money, letting that money go off your hands, go off you, becomes natural, you know. And trusting God to replenish becomes a default to you. You know, you not become anxious when you don't have. You begin to trust God for more, because you know He's the source, He's the owner. Yeah. Now, a good manager is diligent. Number one, you've said that as a good manager, you need to be diligent. So a good manager, now that you understand that you're just a manager, you're managing God's property, then you need to understand that a good manager is diligent, you know. And by diligent, what do we mean? We mean that you track what you have, yeah. You track what you have as a diligent person, you know. You begin to track what you have, okay. Track what you have as a diligent person, you know. You are accountable, yeah. You can explain every decision that you're making, you know. You become strategic as a manager, you know, and focus on growing what you have been given, yeah. Grow what you have been given. And after you've done that, then you report back to the owner, you know. Something else is that one of the things that tests your ownership is tithing, you know. You be giving 10% of what you have multiplied, what you have made, and this will reveal that you believe that the money is not yours, you know. You not give out of fear, yeah. You want to be giving out of fear. You want to be giving out of fear, yeah. You'll be giving because you know that whatever you are giving comes from God, okay. And by that, it will also reveal where your heart is, yeah. Reveal where your heart. So before you budget this month, I want you to ask yourself, if this money belongs to God, how would He want you to allocate it, you know. And that single question will change how you spend, how you save, and how you give, yeah. Okay. And I want you to maybe share your own reaction when you wanted to give some huge amount somewhere. I want you to be honest. Were you fearful about it? Were you hesitant about it? You know, let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, if you're getting value, give me a 1. If you're getting value, give me a 1 in the comment section. Yeah. If you're getting value, give me a 1 in the comment section. Good. So let's move on. Yeah. And I want us to look at faithfulness. You know, faithfulness. You need to work with your whole heart. You need to work with your whole heart. You know, Colossians 3:23 says that whatever your hands find to do, you know, work it with all your heart. Whatever your hands find to do, work it with all your heart. And we're also saying that opportunity finds those who show up fully. You know, so you need to realize that even unpaid efforts and reward. Not everything is monetary. Yeah, not everything is monetary. So you need to be anchor number 2 is you need to be faithful. You know, a faithful man, a faithful woman is very rare to find. Yeah. So you need to be productive with every gift, every talent, and every opportunity that God has given you. Okay? Yeah, you need to be productive with every opportunity, every talent, every gift that God has given you. You know, and faithfulness, we are saying, is not about perfection. It is about showing up. You know, when you read Matthew 25, there is a man who was given one talent and he went and buried it. He did not lose that talent. He still had it. You know, he just did nothing with it. So faithfulness means you have to be active engagement with what you have. And we have three things. Number one, we have our treasures, that is our money. We have the time, and then we have the talent. These are our skills, our giftings, our potential. Those are our treasures, yeah, that you've been given. And the results, even if the results are slow, you know, but you are active with whatever gift, whatever talent, whatever time, whatever opportunity that you have. And something else you need to realize is that each and every one of us, we have an asset. So you need to identify what is your asset. You know, your skills, your talents, your potential, those are assets that we have. So you need to identify yours. And each and every one of us, we have different capacities, different talents, different skills. Yeah. Okay. So even if you have no money today, but you have something that you can work with, maybe you have a skill, you have a talent, you have some potential. So faithfulness starts by identifying what you have before asking for more. Again, something else that you need to understand is that wholehearted work unlocks unexpected doors. You know, Colossians 3:23 to 24 promises a reward for wholehearted work, even unpaid work. You know, staying late when everyone else is leaving, going beyond the job description, showing up maybe on a Saturday. These habits will attract divine favor and human promotion. Now, you need to also understand that your workplace is your assignment. The people you work with are not interruptions. They are your assignment, you know, and your faithful service to them, your mentoring of maybe your junior staff, your diligence in the small tasks, all of it is workmanship, you know, and you will be rewarded for that, you know. Okay. So anchor number three is retention. You know, keep something from everything. Retention. Anchor number 3 is retention. Keep something from everything. Yeah. Proverbs 21 verse 20. Fools spend what they get. You know, Proverbs 21 verse 20. Fools spend what they get. So you need to understand that your income is your seed. Don't eat it all. Yeah. So whatever income you have, maybe it's coming from the business, it's coming from your career, maybe you're a career professional. You need to understand that your income is your seed, and seeds are meant to be planted. Seeds are meant to be planted. Fruits are meant to be eaten. Yeah. And even the fruits, you realize that they have seeds. Why? Because there is a principle of, you know, recurring. There's a principle of recurring, you know. That's why the fruits also comes with seeds, so that you plant it again and harvest the fruits again, you know. So there's a principle of continuity. So don't be classified under fool who spends whatever you get. Yeah. Don't be a fool who spends everything that you get. Okay. So what are we saying? We are saying that your income is your seed. Yeah. So the discipline of keeping something from every single thing you earn, every money you earn, you need to keep something from it. So, but the first, before you keep, you need to understand that your income is a seeds, and seeds are not for eating. A farmer who eats all his seed has nothing to plant the next season, you know. So your income works the same way. If you consume 100% of what you earn every month, you have planted nothing, you know. And if you have planted nothing, then you will harvest nothing. So what are we saying? We are saying that your income is a seed, you know. So the rule is very simple. You need to pay yourself first. You'll hear some people in this financial wellness space saying that you need to pay yourself first. What they mean is that you need to set aside something, you know, for the rainy season first before you begin to attend to your bills, your needs, and your wants. You know, before the rent, before you buy the groceries, before you pay the school fee, a minimum of 10% of any amount that comes in your account should go straight into investment. Whether even you're in business, whatever amount that comes in, automatically 10% should, out of that amount, should go towards investments, towards multiplication. And this should be non-negotiable, you know. And sometimes to stay safe in this area is that you need to automate. You know, maybe instruct your bank, when this amount comes, always deduct 10% automatically. Set a system that deducts it automatically. Yeah. Okay. But even if you think about that, we are saying that you need to start from where you are. Start from where you are. You know, this principle applies to you even if you're earning 5,000 or even 500,000 or even 50,000. You know, the percentage matters more than the amount. It's not the amount, it is the consistency, the principle, you know, that habit, that discipline. Okay. Now, what about the seasons of genuine scarcity? Maybe you really don't have. So how can you set aside 10%? Even in the hard months, maybe you'll find something. Because how have you been surviving in the past hard months, in the past scarcity, you know, years? I mean, there's something that you are getting. Still have the discipline of setting aside the 10%, you know, because the habit is more important than the amount. The habit is more important than the amount. So breaking the habit entirely is far more costly than the small sum you save in a difficult month. You know, and statistics have been showing that women are better retainers than the men, you know, but women are poor multipliers. Men are good multipliers, but women are good retainers. Yeah, so you need to acknowledge this. You know, many women are disciplined savers. They're keeping their money in a chama, they're keeping their money in a bank account for years. Yeah. You know, but they don't invest it. They're not good at investing it, multiplying it, you know. So you need to understand that retention without multiplication is incomplete. You know, retention without multiplication is incomplete, you know. Yes, retention without multiplication is incomplete. Okay? Yeah. So I want you to type in the comment section. If last month you're able to retain at least 10% of, you know, of whatever money that came in your pocket. Yeah. Were you able to retain? Just say, I didn't retain. You know, were you able to retain 10% of whatever income that came to you? You know, if just be honest, type in the comment section below that I was not able to retain. Yeah, I'm still struggling with this. Okay. Now, anchor number 4 is multiplication. Yeah, anchor number 4 is multiplication. Okay. Yeah, multiplication. So you need to multiply. You need to find ways of, you know, multiplying whatever income or money that comes to you. Yeah, you need to find a way of multiplying. You know, Genesis 1:28 says that be fruitful and multiply. So we are expected to multiply whatever income, whatever money that comes away. Yeah, and there are 6 income streams. Number 1, that is common, dividends, whereby you own shares in a particular company and you're earning profit share out of the profit that company or organization has made in that year. You share, you get a percentage of that. Number 2, there is bonds, whereby you are lending money maybe to the government and you're earning interest maybe quarterly. Yeah. Then there is rental income. You know, these are properties that you have that are paying you money. Capital gains, whereby you are buying low and selling high. Like, for example, the real estate. Yeah, the real estate falls under capital gains, whereby you are buying low and maybe due to the developments, due to residential developments, infrastructural developments, commercial developments around there, you know, makes your property prices to go up. Then you decide to do what? To sell. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the capital gains, buying low and selling high. You can even buy the shares. You buy low and then you sell when it is high. Okay. Then there is royalties, you know, whereby you create once and you earn forever. Yeah. There's the royalties you create once and then you earn forever. Then there is trade. Maybe you are buying things in wholesale from, you know, China or even the nearest town or even in the city. There's some products that you are buying or services that you are buying in wholesale and then you are selling in small portions. Okay, so all this that we are saying here is multiplication. Yeah, all this that we are saying here is multiplication. Okay, now why is one income stream too close to none? Yeah, so you need to understand that one income stream is close to none and you need to find something to do about it. Yeah, so the mandate when it comes to financial wellness is Genesis 1:28, be fruitful and multiply. So even the Bible commands us to be fruitful, to multiply, yeah, and fill the earth and subdue it. So the earth can only be filled through multiplication of human beings, you know. And the word multiply in Hebrew means rabba, you know. Let me connect my charger. Okay, so the word multiply means rabba, which means to increase. Okay, it means to increase, to enlarge, to become many. So this applies to your financial wellness because it encourages you to do what? To find ways of increasing your money, of enlarging your money, or find ways of, you know, your money becoming many. Yeah, and this applies to business, influence, impact, you know, even in your income. So you need to understand that one income is a single point of failure. One income is close to none. You know, if your sole income source disappears, then what will happen? You know, maybe there's some illness might come in. There'll be some redundancy. You know, your business might close. You'll move close to having nothing. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 2 says, invest in 7 ventures because you do not know what disaster will come. So you need to understand that diversification is wisdom. You know, Ecclesiastes 11:2 says that you need to invest in 7 ventures because you don't know what disaster will come. You don't know what disaster will come. So in other words, one of the principles of financial wellness is the principle of diversification. Yeah, okay. One of the principles of financial wellness is diversification. So as much as we are saying you need to invest in 7 income streams, but always start with one. Okay, do not try to build all the 6 at once. Identify which stream is most accessible given your current resources and skill, then research it, then take one step towards it this week. Yeah, so we are saying that as much as there's an advice to have 7 income streams, which is good, but start with one, build it, then let the profits from this one now birth the other one without killing the first income stream or the first your source of income. Yeah, okay. You cannot be in 7 places at the same time. So you start with one, go big on it, and once it's giving you the profit that you want, then use the profits to begin to diversify to the other 6 income stream that will not need your physical input. Okay, I've seen some people doing 7 businesses that require them physically, and at the end of the day they find themselves exhausted, they find themselves not productive, they find the businesses not performing well, and they end up closing the businesses and becoming bankrupt. Okay, yeah. So so you need to understand that you need to build 7 income streams. Okay, you need to build 7 income streams. Yeah, 7 income streams. And number 1, we are saying you need to start with one that will explode, then use the profits to build the 6 that will not require physical input. Yeah, and there's an illustration, the trunk versus the branches. Your job or business is a trunk. Okay, have you ever seen a tree? Picture a tree. Picture a tree. Picture a tree. Your job is to think like a trunk, think like a tree. Okay, and the business that you're doing is like the trunk. So these income streams are the branches. So a tree with only a trunk and no branches is vulnerable. A tree with only a trunk and no branches is vulnerable. But a tree with many branches can survive even if one breaks. Okay? Yeah, so if you're getting value, give me 1. If you're getting value, give me a 1. If you're getting value, give me a 1. Yeah, give me a 1. If you're getting value, give me a 1. Give me a 1. If you're getting value, give me a 1. Yes, if you're getting value, I want you to type 1. Type 1. If you're getting value, give me a 1. Yes, are you getting value? Give me a 1 in the comment section if you are getting value. Yeah. Give me a 1 in the comment section. So anchor number 5. Anchor number 5. If you're joining for the first time, so I'm Bob. I'm a real estate entrepreneur I'm passionate about financial wellness, wealth creation, entrepreneurship, and real estate. And I believe that I'm called to build the capacity of so many people to make informed decisions when it comes to real estate investing, financial wellness, financial management. Yeah, and I'm also an author. I've written more than 8 books. 3 among the 8 books are right here on the screen. Yeah, so you can get all these books in Amazon. You know, all these books are in Amazon. Yeah, just go to Amazon right now, search Bob Ondijo in Amazon. You will see the books there, and you can buy and begin to get information. The first stage of information is normally knowledge. So that's why we are writing these books, to help you with the knowledge when it comes to land investment, real estate. Everything you need to know about real estate land investment is right here. When you have these 3 books, you are good to go. Okay, yeah. So what are we saying? We are saying that the 5th anchor that you need to have is giving. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 11:2. Invest in 7 ventures, do not know what disaster may come. So you need to understand that your wealth is for assignment. Tithe first, give generously, hold your money loosely. Don't be so stingy with your money when it comes to giving. Your wealth is for assignment. Your money is for assignment. A poor person thinks about himself only, or herself only. A wealthy person thinks about others. One of the reasons why I think there are people who are wealthy is that they think about others. They don't just think about themselves. Yeah, okay? They don't just think about themselves. So think about giving. Anchor number 5. The one that seals all the other 4 that you have looked at. So you need to understand that your tithe is not a tax, okay? Yeah, it is a declaration. Tithing declares that I acknowledge that this money is not mine. I'm honoring God with the first fruits, and this is an act of faith that more will come. So tithe is an act of faith that more will come. Okay, I want you to type that in the comment section. Type that in the comment section, that tithe is an act of faith that more will come. Okay? Yeah, type that in the comment section, that tithe is an act of faith that more will come. Okay? And according to Malachi 3:10, God responds to your tithing with open windows of blessings. Yeah, with open windows of blessings. So you need to understand that wealth is for assignment, not accumulation. God does not make people rich so that they can be comfortable. God makes people rich so that they can fund what He is doing. Yeah, God makes people rich so that you can fund what God is doing. Yeah. Okay? God makes people rich so that you can fund what God is doing. I want you to type that in the comment section below, that God makes people rich so that you can fund what He is doing. Okay? Yeah, I want you to type that in the comment section, that God will make me rich so that I fund what He is doing. Okay? God will make me rich so that I fund what God is doing. Are you getting value? Give me a 1. Give me a 1. Yes. Are you getting value? Give me a 1. Give me a 1. Give me a 1. Give me a 1. Yes, give me a 1. If you're getting value, give me a 1. Yeah. If you're getting value, give me a 1. Okay. So what are we saying? You need to understand that whatever money you are making is not just for you. That your money is for assignment. Can you type in the comment section, my money is for assignment? So if you have been given much, you have been entrusted also with much. Yeah. So if you have been given much, you have also been entrusted with much. So you are rich so that you can fund what God is doing on earth. Okay? So you need to understand and ask yourself, what is my wealth for? What is my wealth for? So the physical reaction to giving reveals your heart. Yeah, if the thought of giving a large sum makes your heart race, have fear, have resentment, be angry, you're sweating, that reaction sends some information about you. It shows that the idol of money has taken root in your heart. Okay? So giving is an antidote to idolatry. Yeah. But you need to get this, that giving breaks the grip of money over your life. Every time you give beyond your comfort, you are training your soul to trust God more than your bank balance. And this is where many people are stuck. Every time you're giving beyond your comfort, then you're training your soul to trust God more than your bank balance. So over time, generosity becomes the most natural thing for you to do. You don't struggle with it. And the financial anxiety decreases proportionally because you're not struggling to give, because you know that you are trusting in God to give you more, so that you even give more. Yeah. So what part of your life, or maybe what part of your history, are there seasons whereby you struggled with giving? I want you to let me know. And how are you faring today? Yeah, is there a season you struggled with giving? Okay, and how is it for you today? Was there a season you are struggling with giving, and how is it for you today? Do you still struggle with giving a part of your money? So you need to work on it. Okay, good. So you need to understand that your wealth is equal to your income multiplied by the time, multiplied by the consistency. Whatever income you're receiving, add time to it, and then add consistency to it. Then that becomes your wealth. So the income size doesn't matter. Whatever you're earning doesn't matter. If you save 10,000 consistently, it beats saving 5,000. It beats 500,000 spent recklessly. So you need. What are we saying? That you need to plant seeds. You need to plant seeds. Okay. You need to plant seeds and be consistent and watch it grow. Okay. You need to plant seed, be consistent, and watch it grow. So the wealth equation is that whatever income you're earning, whatever money you're receiving, add time to it, and then add consistency to it. So why almost anyone can build wealth when they understand these three variables. Number one, that your income is the seed. Your salary, your business revenue, your side income, that is always a starting seed. Treat that as a seed. And it does not matter how small it is. What matters is that you consistently retain a portion of your salary, of your business revenue, of your side income. Even if it is 2,000 per month, it is you be consistent at retaining, at treating that as a seed. Number two, it is time, which is the most powerful variable. There's something we call compounding interest. And we are saying that compounding interest rewards time more than the amount. Yeah, I want you to type in the comment section that compounding interest rewards time more than the amount. Compounding interest rewards time more than the amount. I want you to type that in the comment section below. What are we saying? You know, if you have 5,000 per month at the age of 25, it will produce 17.8 million, you know, when you are 60 years old. You know, it will produce 60 million when you are 60 years old. If you start saving 5,000 per month right now, when you are 25 years, for those of you who are 25, by the time you are 60, you have compounded to 17.8 million. Okay? So, the same amount starting at 35 will produce 6.5 million by the time you are 60. You know, why? Because time is doing the work. Time is doing the work. Time is doing the work. Yeah? Time is doing the work. So, you cannot earn your way out of starting late. So you need to understand that you cannot earn your way out of starting late. Okay? The secret is in starting early. Number 3, consistency. This is non-negotiable. Suppose you're investing 50,000 once. It is far less than investing 2,000 every single month for 10 years. The power of consistency. You know, consistency is the one that feeds the compounding engine. I want you to type that in the comment section, that consistency feeds the compounding engine. You know, stopping and starting destroys it. Yeah. So set up an automatic investment deduction and never touch it. That is what the wealthy do. They set up automatic investment deductions and they never touch it. That's how they you know, they kill the that's how they master the consistency, yeah, game. They set up an automatic investment deduction and never touch it. You know, and why is this good news for you? The good news is that you do not need to be rich to start. You do not need a special opportunity. You do not need to know someone or know the right people. All you need is an income of any amount. All you need is time by starting today, and all you need is consistency, you know, the ability to never stop. That's it. You know, a single 1 shilling double every day for 30 days become you know, 536, you know, million. Nobody starts at you know, Kenya one shilling. You know, but the principle is the same. Small amounts multiplied consistency over time becomes a staggering wealth. You know, so what are we saying? If you look at this, the cost of waiting, you know, suppose you have 5,000 per month, you're saving 5,000 per month at a 10% annual return, and you are starting at 25 years. You know, at 25 years. At 25 years. By the time you are 60, you have 17.8 million. If you start at 35, by the time you are 60, you will have 6.5 million. If you start at 45, you know, you'll only have 2.1 million. So the secret is in starting early. Okay? The secret is in starting early. You know, don't wait. There is a cost of waiting. Yeah, there is a cost of waiting. What 10 years of delay can cost you, you have already seen. You know, so you need to start early. And if you are not late, I normally like to say that you are not late until you are the late. Can you type that in the comment section? You're not late until you are the late. Yeah, you can start at whatever age, so long as you discover yourself, you know. So what happens in your 20s? Maybe some of you are watching this in your 20s. You are still in your 20s. In your 20s, you have the superpower, and the superpower that you have is time, and you need to use it well, you know. And at this age, focus on building your faith first. The strongest financial foundation is spiritual clarity. The strongest financial foundation is spiritual clarity. Number 2, in your 20s, invest in skills. Every certification you earn now pays dividends for 40 years, you know, in your 20s. In your 20s, you need to live below your means. The gap between income and spending is where wealth begins. In your 20s, you need to understand that the gap between income and spending is where wealth begins. You know, in your 20s, you need to start investing today, even if it is 1,000 a month, because you need to realize that compounding begins the day you start, you know. Again, in your 20s, you need to avoid consumption debt. Do not finance things that don't grow in value, things that don't multiply your money, things that don't grow your capital, you know. Yeah. Good. So, time is your greatest assets in your 20s, you know. So in your 20s, you need to understand that it is your mourning season. You know, in your 20s, it is your mourning season, and time is your greatest asset. You cannot get it back. You know, at 25, you have 35 years before traditional retirement age. So every year you delay investing is exceptionally more expensive than the year before. So your 20s are not a warm-up. You know, they are the most strategically important decade of your financial life. And you are saying that the spiritual foundation should be your priority first, because every financial principle in this presentation is anchored in a relationship with God. So invest in your faith in your 20s, because the trials of this life will test it. You know, the financial pressure, the marriage, the loss, the failures, they will come in your 30s and your 40s, and it will depend on the foundation in your 20s. So you need you need a stable foundation before the storm. You know, you need a stable foundation before the storm. Something you need to understand also in your 20s is that social comparison is the greatest destroyer in your 20s. You know, seeing peers driving nice cars, you'll see your friends wearing designer clothes. You know, you see your friends take international holidays, and this will create a lot of pressure for you in your 20s to spend beyond your means, you know. And you'll discover that most of the things that you'll be seeing with your peers is debt funded. You know, they're loans. The person driving the car you are envying maybe 3 months from, you know, the car being repossessed. So what are we saying in your 20s? Stick to your lane. You know, stick to your lane and avoid debt that does not grow. A car loan, a credit card for clothes, a loan to fund your holiday. You know, these are financial traps that look like, you know, freedom, you know, but they are chains. It does not generate income, does not appreciate in value, does not increase your earning capacity. So do not borrow for it. Okay. So in your 30s, you need to be intentional. Be intentional, you know, because in your 30s, mistakes cost more. Yeah. And some of the traps to avoid: a mortgage for a house you cannot afford, school fee beyond your budget, because in your 30s now you're paying a lot of school fees increasing. You know, club subs just for social status. Do this instead. Get life insurance. If your family depends on you, you need to protect them. Eliminate bad debt, especially consumer debt. Those ones will drain you silently. They will kill you very fast. You know, in your 30s, you need to save at least 20% of whatever money that comes into your hands, because of hard seasons, you know. So you also need to build passive income in your 30s. Begin to build passive income in your 30s, because passive income takes years. So starting at 30 means earning at 40. Okay? You also need to begin to think about your will. Even a basic will protect your children. Okay? So what are we saying? We are saying that in your 30s you need to be intentional, because in your 30s mistakes you make will cost you more. Yeah, as you move towards your 30s to your 40s, the mistakes that you make will cost you more. Okay? Yeah. So you need to be intentional. Be intentional in your 30s. You know, because 30s are the most financially dangerous decade. You know, career growth is happening, there's family pressure, there is social competition that is also showing up. You know, there's lifestyle pressure, income is rising, and your lifestyle pressure is also rising. You know, a new mortgage, you need to take your kids to a private school, you know, you need to have a second car, you need to keep up with the peers. So each seems individually affordable, you know, but if you look at it collectively, they'll be consuming every shilling of your income growth and leaving you with nothing invested. You know, in your 30s also, the marriage partner decision is very important. Your choice of spouse may be the single biggest financial decision of your life. A partner who is creative about money, carries hidden debt, or has fundamentally, you know, different spending values can undo a decade of your diligent saving, of your financial saving. So you need to choose your partner carefully. Be transparent before you commit, before you go that path. You know, and also you're saying that life insurance is not an option if your family depend on you in your 30s. If your spouse, your children, your parents rely on your income, your death or disability will be financially catastrophic for them. You know, okay? So you need to get some life insurance, because when you need it, you might not get it. Something else you need to realize in your 30s is that bad debt is a slow financial hemorrhage. You know, credit card at 25% increase, a personal loan at 20%, a higher purchase agreement. You know, this will drain your wealth invisibly every month. So list every debt you have, rank by interest rate, attack the highest rate first with every spare shilling, because speed matters. Okay? Now, passive income, when it comes to your 30s, is a must-have, must start now, not later. You know, to earn 100,000 per month passively at retirement, you need to have invested 10 million in income-generating assets. Building 10 million in assets takes 10 to 15 years of consistent effort. So if you want it at 50, then start building at 35, because the clock is running. You know, so for married couples watching live, finance is one of the top 3 causes of divorce. So if you and your spouse have not had a full financial transparency conversation when it comes to income, debt, saving goals, plan that conversation for this week, even tonight. Okay? Now, in your 40s, this is your peak earning. This is your nesting phase. You know, income peaks at 40 to 65, so they say. So every extra shilling invested now matters most. So you need to maximize your investment in your 40, because income is highest now. Put as much aside as possible. In your 40s, focus on growing passive income. You know, 100,000 per month passive income will require about 10 million invested in assets. You know, plan your retirement, plan retirement, you know, your medical retirement. Company cover ends when your employment ends. Then you need to put close tax expert, to begin mapping your estate. So, but what are we saying? We are saying that biologically and professionally, 40s are designed for acceleration. Research shows that income peaks between 40 to 65. So children are older and less dependent. Career, yes, maybe you establish, you built your networks, and many women who post careers for family re-enter the workforce with fresh energy. So this is your window. Do not let it pass quietly. We're also saying that this is the nesting phase. In the late pregnancy, expectant mothers experience a burst of energy and clarity, called nesting. They rearrange the furniture, they prepare spaces, they get everything ready. So the 40s are like a financial nesting phase. Channel that energy into aggressive investment and strategic planning. So do not let complacency steal your 40s. Some 40-something who have done reasonably well become satisfied and they slow down. Now, remember, this is a trap. Your 40s are not the time to go to the beach. They are the time to accelerate, because the window of peak earning does not last forever. And also in your 40s, the medical planning is urgent. It is not optional. When you leave your work, your company medical cover vanishes the day you leave your employment or retire. So you need to have your own private medical cover, okay? And you need also to think about, trust, family investment vehicles, estate planning tools that take 2 to 2 years to set up and optimize. If you wait until you are 55 to think about this, then you discover that you have lost years of efficiency and generational wealth transfer potential. So if you're in your 40s and behind, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Map where you want to be. Okay? Yeah. So your 50s to 60s is at the risk. This is the time you're consolidating. This is the time you're planning your exit. And I need to answer this. If you're in your 50s and 60s, where will I retire and what will I do daily? How do I create monthly income without a salary? These are the things you need to be discussing, thinking of in your 50s and 60s. What are all my assets? How much do I owe? Who manages my assets if I can no longer manage them? So in your 50s, there are 5 actions that you need to take. Number 1, you need to clear all your debt, including mortgage. Consolidate your scattered investments. Set up retirement medical cover. Finance your will or trust now. And invest in family relationships. So preparing for retirement is not a one conversation. It is a 10-year process. So 50s and 60s is your transition season. The retirement income gap is real and often shocking. Most people approaching retirement realize they have not saved enough to replace their income. The NSF pension pays a fraction of pre-retirement salary. If you have not been building passive income streams in your 40s, your 50s must be extremely aggressive in filling that gap. So consolidate before you can manage. Maybe you have some land in Kitengela, rental in Nakuru, shares in 3 companies, a business in Nairobi. So managing a complex portfolio at 70 is exhausting and prone to mismanagement. So start simplifying at 55. Sell what you cannot easily manage. Consolidate into a simpler income-generating assets. So the question nobody asks is, what will I do every day? Retirement is not just a financial transition. It is an identity transition. It is not a financial transition. People who retire without a plan for their time often spiral into depression within 2 years after retirement. So plan what you will do. Mentoring, ministry, board roles, travel, gardening, before that day arrives. Something else in your 50s and 60s is you need to invest in family relationships. Now, if you are 55 and your adult children barely know you, no amount of money you leave them will compensate for the relationship. Wealthy estates are contested precisely because the relationships were not built. Why? Your legacy is as much relational as it is financial. You know, your legacy is relational, not financial alone. You know, so you need to also think about your annuity, your drawdowns. You know, an annuity is a product where you give an insurer a lump sum and they pay you a monthly income for life. A drawdown is a strategy where you withdraw from your invested portfolio at a substantial rate. Both have pros and cons, so speak to a licensed financial advisor about which suits your situation. So for those in the 50s and 60s, you're watching live, this is not the end. I normally like to say that it is not late until you are the late. So this is just but a beginning, but requires decisions to be made today, not tomorrow. You know, so what is one specific action that you can take this week if you are in your 50s and 60s? Yeah. Okay. So something else is passive income works while you sleep. You know. Okay. Passive income works well. So you need to start in your 30s. Start in your 30s. You know. So for you to think about passive income, then you need to ask yourself, what is my target income? What income am I targeting? Then add 10% extra to that income. Then what assets will be needed to have this targeted income plus 10% of it? You know? Yeah. 50,000 per month will need 5 million invested in assets. 100,000 per month will need 10 million invested in assets. 500,000 per month will mean 50 million invested in assets. You know, so the formula is passive income is assets times 10% of that. You know, this assumes a conservative 10% average return from a diversified portfolio. If you want 100,000 per month in passive income, you need 1.2 million per year. Divide by 10%. So multiplied by 10%, that will be 12 million in income generating assets. Yeah, so if you want 1.2 million, you multiply by that by 10, you get 12 million. You know, so what counts as a passive income asset? Real estate, rental income, shares with dividends, government bonds, money market funds, business ownership where you are not the operator. So these all generate income without requiring your daily active labor. You know, okay, so you need to realize that you cannot buy 10 million in assets overnight. You accumulate them over time. One rental unit, one bond portfolio, one equity account. You know, each takes time to acquire, develop, and stabilize. So this is why the urgency to start in your 30s is not optional. It is urgent. You know. Now, many people call their job income and their rental passive income. But if the rental requires your constant attention, then it is a second job. So you need to discover and realize that true passive income is income that arrives without your active management. And that is what you need to aim at, okay? You know, your active income is not your passive income. So you need to understand that your true passive income is income that comes to your pocket without your daily physical involvement, and that is what you need to aim at. Now, something else you need to cultivate is your freedom number, financial freedom number. It is a monthly income that you need to cover all your expenses without working. Suppose you decide that you will not work for the rest of your life, and maybe you need, your expenses are totaling to around 200,000. You know, so take that number, multiply by 120. Okay, 10 years of monthly income, and that is your target asset base. Knowing the number makes the goal real and workable. Okay, So what is your financial freedom number? I need you to calculate that. What is your financial freedom number? Okay, so you need to understand that. Then we have the lifestyle creep. So one of the things that will risk your income or diminish your asset is a lifestyle. There are some people, when the income rises, then the lifestyle also rises at the same time, and this will diminish or bring your savings to zero. Okay, maybe you are living in a bed sitter. You move to maybe a 1-bedroom, move to a 2-bedroom, in middle class areas. You take your children from a public school, take them to an international school, private school, then from a private school to international schools. Soon before you realize, your savings will be zero. So you need to watch for the lifestyle creep. This is the biggest enemy to our investment. This is the biggest enemy to multiplying your money. This is a giant that you need, this is a Goliath that you need to deal with. The silent wealth killer, the Goliath that you need to bring down is a lifestyle creep, which is a gradual and almost invisible process by which every increase in income is matched or exceeded by an increase in spending. And it happens slowly and feels entirely reasonable, but each upgrade feels earned. And if it's not watched, the results are catastrophic. So what are we saying, guys? We are saying that part of growing your money is watching against the lifestyle creep. The lifestyle creep, the silent wealth killer. Picture a lady by the name Jane. Her income rises, but also equally her lifestyle rises. And what will happen is that her savings will come down to zero. Her investments will come down to zero. Okay, because now she will not have money to invest. So the rule is your lifestyle growth must lag your income growth. When you get a raise or a business win, for the first instinct is to upgrade something. The extraordinary choice is to invest 70 to 80% of the increase and upgrade your lifestyle with only 20 to 30%. And you need to do this consistently, and your saving graph begins to look exponential. So what are we saying? That lifestyle creep is the hidden danger of visible wealth. The desire to look wealthy is more powerful than the desire to be wealthy. Looking wealthy in a nice house, in a nice car, going for holiday, and all these things are costing money. So being wealthy is about owning assets that generate income, that builds you money, and this income is the one that's supposed to fund your lifestyle without touching this asset or this income. But most people have optimized themselves to look wealthy and end up poor instead of becoming wealthy. And Proverbs 13:22 says that a good man leaves an inheritance. A good man leaves an inheritance for his grandchildren, his children. So you cannot leave an inheritance if you have spent everything on yourself. Every spending upgrade you make is a decision about what you will leave behind and not leave behind. Okay? So I want you to identify the last lifestyle upgrade that you made. Was it a car, a house, a holiday, a school? Then ask yourself, did the investment equivalent of that upgrade also happen at the same time? I want you to be honest and type that in the chat section. I want you to identify the last lifestyle upgrade that you made. Maybe it's a car, maybe it's your phone, maybe it's a house, maybe it's a cloth, maybe it's a holiday, maybe it's a school. Then ask yourself, was there an equivalent of an investment upgrade, equivalent to the lifestyle upgrade that you made? Type that in the comment section below. Yeah. So something else, you need to think of leaving a legacy. Proverbs 13:22 says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. So ask yourself, if a young person followed your financial habits exactly, what will they inherit? Yeah, what will they inherit? Okay, so you need to think of a legacy. And the legacy has two dimensions. Number one is financial and relational. Financial legacy is the assets that you're leaving behind, the businesses that you're leaving behind, the knowledge that you'll be transferring. Relational legacy is the values, the faith, the habits, the character that you have poured into your children and those you have mentored. Both of these matter, but only the relational dimension is guaranteed to last. So succession planning is not just for corporations. Every family needs a succession plan, which is good. Who inherits what? Who manages the assets? What happens to the business? What are the conditions? Without this, your death will trigger conflict, legal disputes, and in many cases, destruction of what you have spent years and toiled building. So you need to teach the principles, not just the wealth. Leaving money to people who do not have the principle to manage it is not a gift. It is a curse. The children who inherit wealth without wisdom becomes the next generation of rice party circle. Teach your children these 5 anchors before they inherit anything. And the most important question in the room today, if a young person in your life followed your financial habits exactly, what will they inherit? Not your assets when you die, your habits right now, what will they inherit? So this question cuts through theory and, brings the reality. So dying without a will put your assets through a lengthy, expensive court process. Your family may even lose those assets. Your wishes are irrelevant without a documentation. You need to document. And a simple will costs very little to write and protects everything that you have been working for. So in summary, we have been looking at these 5 anchors, and I need you to go through them again. Number 1 is ownership. Understand ownership. God owns it all, and you are the manager. Number 2, we have talked about faithfulness. Work wholeheartedly with the gift, the time, the treasures, the potential, the skills that God has given you. Then number 3, think about retention. Save. Keep 10-20% of everything that you earn. Okay. Then we have also talked about multiplication. Diversify and grow your income streams. Then we have also talked about giving. Your wealth is for assignment, so don't withhold it. Give it freely. Giving is not just, it is a discipline that keeps the other 4 anchors from becoming idols in your life. It breaks the grip of money and opens heaven's blessing and ensures that your wealth serves a purpose beyond your own comfort. So you were created to be fruitful. You were created to multiply. You were created to leave a legacy. So these 5 anchors are not optional. They are a blueprint for the financial life that God has intended for you. And I want you to share this video 5 times. I want you to share this video 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, So starting today, 5 actions that you need to do this week. Identify your season, morning, execution, legacy, rest. Your strategy depends on understanding your season. Then calculate what you need to retain, what you need to save. List down your income streams. Count them. How many do you have? Start with 1, move towards the 7. Set your passive income target and begin to work back to the assets needed to have this passive income number. Talk to your family. Build relationships. Have family conversations. Okay? Calculate your financial freedom number. Map and grow your income streams. Calculate and commit to your saving rate. Understand your season. Okay? Understand your season. Yeah? Understand your season. Okay. So in closing, we have learned what financial wellness actually produces. We also learned that your wealth is a tool, not a destination. You also learned about legacy. The generation after you is watching you, you know, and the one thing you must do is you need to think about not just your wealth, but your relationship. Yeah, so if you got a value, give me a 1 in the comment section. If you got a value, share this video 50 times. These are financial wellness. Yeah. If you got value, share this video 50 times. If you got value, share this video 50 times with your friends, colleagues, workmates, and you know, let us also know in the comment section if you got value. Give us a 1, okay, and share this video 50 times with your friends, colleagues, workmates. Yeah. And also I'm an author. I've written books about I'm in the land investments, land banking investment space, and we are focused on capital appreciation. These are areas that you can multiply your money. You know, these are areas, metropolitan areas, where you can multiply your money. So just talk to Estbo Properties. Go to our website, www.estboproperties. Get to see what we have. Talk to us. We want you to multiply your money. Remember, you talked about 3 M's of money. Number 1 is making money. Everybody is making money, but not everybody is multiplying money. Not everybody is managing money. So we are in the space of multiplying your money, you know, through real estate, strategic real estate, land banking investments within the metropolitan areas. And the best place to start is knowledge, you know. And I want you to grab these 3 books. They are on Amazon. These 3 books are on Amazon. They are good to start you on land banking investments, you know. And if you are a business owner, you are struggling with your sales, grab this book here. It's also in Amazon. You know, for land investment, you can have this, and you can also have this. If you have these 2 for land investment, this and this, you are good to go. And then add this one for sales, then you are good to just go to Amazon. All these 3 books are there. Grab a copy and let me know. Okay, so thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. See you in our next episode. Bye bye.